Hello everyone. If you're watching this video, you've probably stumbled into the wide world of neocaridina shrimp and foods and might be confused or just looking for more information on Bacter AE like I was. That's pretty much why I create a lot of the videos that I have. Just either I have information that I thought others might find useful that was hard to find, or I couldn't find a video on exactly something specific about it, so I just want to pretty much just create videos so that others like me might be able to stumble upon the video and find it helpful. So if you don't mind, I gotta say the normal spiel. Subscribe if you don't mind. You can unsubscribe if you want to unsubscribe a day later. It's perfectly fine by me, but every little bit helps. Like or comment. I love all that stuff. It's really helpful, more than most people know. So if you don't mind, go ahead and do that. But get into the actual topic here. Bacter AE. A lot of people I've seen are confused about what exactly it is. It is a food, but at the same time, it also promotes other food growth. One thing I found taking care of neocaridina shrimp, they're really they have a wide range of foods that they'll eat, like anything, but a lot of what they eat is actually kind of a decaying matter. So, like, you can blanch vegetables, which and put them in there, and they'll eat them. And blanching is basically just kind of starting the decaying process for something. So if you blanch a vegetable, you're just kind of speeding up the decay. And then when you put it in there, they love that. They start eating it. Same with a lot of other stuff. Sometimes it doesn't have to be decaying, but they'll eat algae off the side of the aquarium, green algae, brown algae. They'll eat a lot of different stuff, and depending on exactly how hungry they are, they may get to a certain thing last, but if they're kind of starved, they may eventually, eat that. So it really just depends on what they eat. Now, Bacter AE, from my understanding, it promotes biofilm, which is just kind of a really thin, kind of a white film that generally, if you can see it at all, it's generally more of like a white film from my understanding. But it helps promote that. But they'll just eat this straight. They'll go for it. It's really hard to see because it's really, I'll open it up here. It's a really fine powder. This is, I believe, I think there's a bigger one you can get, but this is the general one that I think was, I don't know, 20 or 30 bucks or something. But you get quite a lot out of this. It has a little top and a scoop, and it's basically just a jar of powder. This is the 35-gram one. It's got instructions on the back on how to use it, and they do warn you. Using too much, it can actually take the oxygen out of the water, or like kind of replace the oxygen or out compete the oxygen. So you got to be careful not to use too much. I generally they give you some really good instructions of like kind of start small and work your way up to like a scoop or two as much as a day if you want. Now, I generally don't use this because I like to I should use it more often, I guess, but what I will do is let the algae grow on the sides of the tank, sides and the back, and I'll clean the front. This isn't really a show tank; it's more just like a for me tank. I like just washing them, and I like to have. This is a 10 gallon, and I have multiple 10 gallons. Just each one I have different colors, and I just like to trying to create a colony and get the right colors that I want. Maybe someday I'll sell them or trade them, do something with that. But yeah, so I'll get a close up here once I put it in, but I wanted to show you guys the process of just mixing it, making it, and then feeding it to them. So what I do, I take just an old cheap water bottle. It's best to do something with a lid to help mix it. But what I do is I take the water bottle. I've got the lid here. I will dunk the water bottle down. I use the same water. I use the water from the aquarium. I'll just fill it most of the way up. This is about three-fourths of the way full. Leave some air just to help with the mixing so when I start to switch it around. But it's about three-fourths of the way full. I'll take a scoop here. Of the Bacter AE and just dump it in. It's really the consistency of almost like flour. basically. If any of you, cook or anything like that, be careful. The stuff really will go everywhere if you accidentally hit it or anything like that. But so you put it in there, it'll pretty much just sit on the top of the water. You're gonna put your lid on, pretty good, and then mine has a leak somewhere around the edge, so I'm gonna be a little more gentle. But just shake it, and you're really just mixing it. You want to make sure, if you can, try to mix it with the existing water that's in there. It just causes less problems for you. You don't have to, worry about chlorine or anything in your water, or copper, who knows what you may have in your tap water or whatever. If you want to use distilled water or whatever, it's so be it. It's on you. But I like using my own water because it has all the right parameters are exactly what I want, so I don't have to worry about anything. I'm just adding Bacter AE. I mix it in like this as opposed to just putting it in there directly, because like you may have saw, the powder, it'll just sit on the top, and they're not fish. They're not really gonna, they will, I have seen them kind of gather at the top and swim along the top of the water upside down, which is neat. But so what I'm gonna do, they really, they're not gonna be doing that. So I'm gonna move the camera in closer here. Hopefully we can get a nice good view. Try to tilt it up a bit here. Now these ones are blue sapphires. They're more of like a dark blue. And I'm not a huge fan of this colony, this color. But for the longest time, I've had them probably 8 months, and they just started breeding. So a lot of these I started out with maybe 10 or something. A lot of them are really small. They are, babies. So you may see, like over there on the left, those are some of the more adult ones. But there are quite a few. There's probably at least 50 in there, if not closer, somewhere to 100. But all right, I'm going to take my bottle. I'm going to lower it into the water on its side. I don't want to just pour it directly in, because that'll disturb a lot of what's in there. But you'll see the cloudiness come down. That's what the Bacter AE looks like when it's getting poured in there. So you'll see the cloudiness. It's almost like a smoke in the water. But I'm trying to do it gently. I don't want to disturb what's in there. The neocaridina, this colony particularly was very slow to get going, and I found that the more you really mess with the tank, you really mess with the colony, and just, I don't know what it is. Maybe they're scared, or, oh, I dumped that in pretty quick. But that's it. And I'll just let it sit. The current in there will kind of take it around, swirl it around a bit, and mix it in. And what it does, over time, it'll really kind of coat everywhere and get in all the nooks and crannies. And they love that. That's the one huge benefit. Just more reason to do it more frequently, because it helps them. They'll explore more, be more active, really get in there and just kind of get in everything. And they do really help kind of keep the aquarium clean if you have enough. Too few, they don't do as well in cleaning, but the more you have, they will really, they can keep a good aquarium. If you get a nice little colony going, your plants will be greener, your aquarium will just be cleaner. And some of that has to do with how often you're feeding and what you're feeding. You may want to starve them a little, just help keep the algae off the sides of the aquarium and stuff like that. But you probably can't see it too well, but it starts sticking to everything, and it also just swirls around and stays in the water too. But it'll even stick to the shrimp themselves, and so you may see some of the other shrimp like accidentally walking on the other shrimp, and just kind of, it's a really fine dust. You can't see it too well, but that's what they're doing. They're just picking it off the other shrimp, which is perfectly fine. But I mean, since I've had neocaridina for a while and really observed, I've got like 18 tanks, I want to say right now. But I like having more, just so that I can compare like what's happening and know that this isn't, if it's happening in all my tanks, that's more natural. And if it's just happening in one tank, that's a kind of a phenomenon. It's not normal for that to be happening. So that's why I like having more tanks, just so that I can get a better idea of what is happening. But what's going on here? So what it does, what they don't eat will basically start to grow and decay a sort of a natural, I don't know what to call it, just a substance. It's biofilm, but biofilm is just like it's bacteria, kind of like good bacteria, kind of forming and just growing like a film, and they love the film. So it's one of the many things that they can eat. Like I said, I mean, they'll eat like all kinds of stuff in there. I haven't really seen them eat a whole lot of live plants, with one exception, but I won't get into that because it's more of an anomaly. Of if I have too many in a tank, I have found something that they will kind of gnaw on, so that it doesn't grow. But I'm not going to get into that. But they will pretty much just they'll eat. So they'll eat this They love the Bacter AE, which grows biofilm, and they'll eat that, which is, you're not really going to see a whole lot of it. It's just kind of something in the background for them to eat at all times. They love, just any type of fish food or shrimp food, algae, stuff like that. So, what I'm going to do is just step away and let this record for a while. You may hear me in the background just doing stuff around the house, so ignore that. A lot of my videos had this kind of cheesy music that my phone just provides for free. That's free to use. It has no copyright against it. So I'm trying to steer away from that and just make a little bit longer videos that are more informative, providing more information. A lot of people seem to be interested in Bacter AE, and I know myself, I could not, at the time of me buying it about a year ago, I couldn't find a whole lot about it. And so again, I just wanted to speak my piece on it, get some more information out there. A lot of people are confused about it, I know. They don't seem to think that it's like a food source. And there's just sort of a lot of mystery around it. So I can't tell you, it's definitely a food. They're eating something in there, and it just kind of, it sticks to everything and coats it and just kind of helps. It doesn't kill anything. I haven't seen any negative effects of it. So if you just want to add it to your arsenal of foods for your shrimp or anything, I mean, I'm sure snails would eat the biofilm as well. They seem to eat everything. Again, it really doesn't seem to hurt anything. But if it's something good to have if you want to add it to your arsenal of just foods. I've got quite a few different foods that I will give them, but I tend to just nowadays stick to the same stuff, and I've just got older stuff sitting around that I don't use too much. But Bacter AE, it's not my favorite, but it's definitely not something that I don't use. It's just whenever I remember, I will give them Bacter AE. But I've got quite a few tanks, like I said. I'm pushing 18 right now, so it can be a lot of work. I like to separate and make sure that I'm not spreading anything from one tank to the other. So I'm dipping that water bottle in and putting the Bacter AE, mixing it with the water, and then putting that back in that tank. Then I have to go clean that water bottle for the next tank and start that process over. So it can be tedious for me to use Bacter AE, but if you're just doing a tank or three, something, it definitely something that's could be useful and I guess fun to use there. So I don't have a whole lot else that I can think of at the moment, but again, if anyone watching this, if you don't mind, you don't have to subscribe. I'm not gonna die or anything like that if you don't subscribe, but if you don't mind throwing like a like, or leave a comment if you find this helpful, something, information that you couldn't find elsewhere, or just something. It helps more than you guys would think, and I can, if I get enough of that stuff, I can start to make a little bit of money off this, which would just help me further the hobby and get into. There's tons of different stuff I'd like to get into with aquarium wise. So not rich by any means, but I've got some money in here, and I'd like to share some of what I've invested in, and some of the stuff that I have fun with, and share some of the knowledge that I've gained that I haven't really seen a whole lot of elsewhere out there. I don't want to just put the same stuff, because you see a lot of the stuff that's just kind of cheesy, almost seems like promos for a company and someone trying to hawk something or sell something, and I'm not affiliated with anyone. I just wanted to get some more information out there on this. So, yeah. It seemed like I have a short video of me feeding this, but I didn't show the mixing or anything like that. So I figured I'd include that and just show. It didn't have me talking either, so it was. People seem to like it, so I figured I'd do some talking. Let's give some more information. Maybe more people will like it, and yeah, just get it out there. I might shoot some other ones, feeding Bacter AE with some of my other colonies. I've got. This is one of the blues I have. I have two. I have a lighter colored blue that I like better, and then I have a blue dream blue. And I've got a 24 karat yellow and Bloody Mary colony that I can put in there. I've got a couple orange colonies, but they are not doing well, and I'm looking for somewhere to get a solid orange colony starter from. Hopefully I'll have that going soon, but none of that has to do with Bacter AE, but I might put out some other Bacter AE feeding videos as well. But yeah, all right, I'm gonna step away for a bit and just leave it running. You guys can watch blue saphire neocaridina davidi. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. But my cherry shrimp. Let them swim around. Oh, by the way, that plant in there, I like mosses. I find they do fairly well, and I do pretty poorly with plants in general. So mosses from what I found, seem to go hand in hand with cherry shrimp tanks at least. So it does fairly well. They love it. They can hide in it. Babies swim around in it. It makes them feel safe, I guess. But it grows its own little algae and stuff like that growing it. You can see maybe some brown algae growing on it. They eat all that stuff, so it doesn't seem to take over too well, too much. So there's also a little bit of something else in there I won't get into, but yeah. All right, I'm gonna step away. Let you guys watch. If you hear anything in the background, it's just me doing stuff around the house. So hope you guys have a good one, and stay safe out there. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the video off here. I know it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of shrimp, at least from what I've seen, that are really kind of coming out and going around, but hopefully you guys saw something and, you know, maybe learned something that you wanted to know there. I started this video originally on my other tank, and the video cut off like halfway through, which really sucked. I'm doing this off of my phone. I don't know how to like edit videos together or anything like that, so maybe I'll do another video tomorrow or something, or sometime in the future, of one of my other tanks that has a lot more shrimp in it. But yeah, so we'll go ahead and end the video. Hope you guys take it easy and stay safe out there, and don't be afraid to leave a like at the least. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.